although I've only been back home in Sweden for 1 week, I already now miss my home back home in Taiwan. Welcome to the real Sweden, and for all of you who have never been in Sweden, who have never seen snow, in today's video I'm gonna tell you my top list of things I don't like about the Swedish winters, with snow being number one. And number two on the list is, ironically, and I have to admit a little bit ungratefully, the lack of snow. And I come to realize that the Swedish snow is very much like the visitors at a Taiwanese night market. It's either way too much or way too little, and it's never the perfect amount. If there are way too many visitors and way too much snow, you simply cannot do anything. And the opposite, if there's no visitors at a night market and, as you can see, no snow during a Swedish winter, you just don't get that overall feeling and happiness, and you are just not excited at all. Just take a look at this. Although there is still technically ice on the lake, all the snow is gone, and it's almost impossible to imagine that this is the exact same place where I was flying drones in this magic winter wonderland just 3 days ago. But you have to remember that snow is basically just frozen rain, and just like everywhere else in the world, most of the time there will not be any downfall, either rain or snow, except I guess in Taipei, where it just rains all the time. And in between these different downfalls, the temperature will of course also fluctuate from maybe plus 5 degrees to minus 5 degrees, and then no new snow coming down. Then, well, this is how it might actually look like most of the time, even here in Sweden. But this change in temperature between plus and minus 5 degrees will actually cause a bunch of different issues here back home in Sweden. Now, I can of course complain for days about the Swedish snow, but I just think it's so annoying when, first of all, the day it snows, you literally have to spend hours just shoveling away all the snow in order to just access your car to drive into the city, which is like 45 minutes that way. And then literally like the next day it gets warm, the snow melts, and you can see there's literally not a single piece of snow left here, where we literally spent hours just a couple of days ago shoveling away all this snow, which is super annoying. Just as snowing, at least according to myself, is very annoying, ice, especially on the roads, is very dangerous. And how do you get ice on the roads here in Sweden? Well, it all starts on a very cold day with snow and downfall, and then the next day it might get a little warmer and the snow will then melt, turn into water, and then the following night it will get cold again, and then that water will turn into ice that is now covering all the roads here in Sweden, which, if you're a kid or if you're out on the Swedish spark, which you all should know by now, it is great and just a lot of fun. But if you try to drive a car here in Sweden on the roads, which may or may not have been salted by the municipal salting car that may or may come here out in the middle of the country road here in Sweden. And how do you make sure that your house is warm enough during those cold and very short winter days? Well, you make sure that you have enough wood storage to survive the entire winter. And this, of course, is something that we have built up, or I mean, my parents have built up throughout the summer months, so we can just come here and then take a couple of pieces of wood here, and then the next step is to take these logs, bring it indoors, and then make a nice cozy fire in the kitchen fireplace so you can enjoy a warm day and even a warm night here during the Swedish winter. And actually, the Swedish winter nights are extra warm and comfortable here thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Emma. Now, as you should know already, Emma is the most awarded mattress in Europe. Also, please do not panic, we're no longer in Taiwan, which means that I can actually lie down on this super comfortable mattress with all my outdoor clothes still on. The Emma mattress has a great motion isolation function, which means that if you are sharing the bed with someone, you can actually get in and out of the bed without disturbing the other person or the other cat at all. Now, although all of us should spend a third of our lives sleeping in our beds, not everyone's sleeping habits and sleeping preferences are the same, which is why Emma is offering a 100-night trial, so you can try out your Emma mattress in your own home for 100 nights, and if you're not 100% satisfied, you can of course return the mattress and get 100% of your money back. Another thing that I don't like about Swedish winter that I'm just realizing now, as the sun is already setting here at 4:30 p.m. on a Friday afternoon, is that the days here in Sweden are super short, which I would argue makes us Swedes an expert when it comes to the bed, since at least during the winter we are spending a lot more time in our beds. But neither my mom or my dad have returned their own mattress, and they both are agreeing that this is the most comfortable bed they have ever tried. And what they like the most about this mattress is that although it is a memory foam mattress, it is still super easy to get in and out of this bed, which is some of the bad experiences they've had with other memory foam mattresses in the past. So if you want to try your own Emma mattress in your own home for 100 days before actually deciding if you want to keep the mattress or not, please also take advantage of their current promotion where you can get up to 45% discount on their bundle deals, and if you do use the coupon code Lukas10 you will get an additional 10% off during checkout as well. So Emma, thank you once again for providing my entire family with these amazing mattresses. But speaking about checkout, I think it's time for us to check out the rest of the things I don't like about the Swedish winter. Now, please forgive me, I had actually prepared a lot more things on my list with things I don't like about the Swedish winter, and specifically the Swedish cold. But because it is so cold I can barely feel my fingers, I cannot actually activate my touchscreen on my phone, which of course is one of the things I really hate about Swedish winter, because the next thing on my list is of course that because of the cold you are actually losing blood circulation in your body, assuming you're not spending all your day in the Emma mattress, and this is causing all kinds of problems. For example, just texting and like being on your phone, moving your fingers is literally like slower and not as responsive as it would be in like plus degrees, because although it may not look like it, it is just as cold as it was the other day when there was snow everywhere around here. So don't let the lack of snow fool you. It is still very, very cold, especially being in Taiwan for 11 years and you think like, you know, 9 degrees Celsius is cold. I have to admit, I am actually freezing more in Taiwan than I am freezing in Sweden, because it is super, super dry here in Sweden, which means that if you are wearing, in this case, a Canada Goose jacket, which I bought in Alaska 14 years ago, I'm not technically cold right now, other than my fingers in this case, which is outside of my jacket. And if I would remove my hat, my ears would start to like almost fall off soon. Whereas in Taiwan, as we all know, it is just like equally warm inside as it is outside, which is just killing me. So in terms of where do I freeze the most, 100% Taiwan. But if you would rephrase it as in when I do freeze, where do I freeze the most? It would be in my fingers back home here in Sweden. But the drier climate we have here in Sweden also has its consequences, of course. And me personally are noticing it because my skin are becoming super dry all of a sudden. In Taiwan, my skin is mostly oily, but here in Sweden, it just turns like super dry. And it's like to the point where my lips have started to have like cracks in them, and like my fingers as well are just very, very dry. And another thing is that when it gets this cold, so water turns to ice. Now this will be very personal to myself, but as you know, we live in this house by ourselves, literally like in the middle of nowhere, and the pipes during winter might get so cold so the water inside the pipes might freeze, meaning that there will be no more water into our entire house, which means that you cannot use the water, you cannot take a shower, you cannot like flush the toilet because there's no new water coming in. And this is actually one of the main reasons for why my parents have not been able to visit me in Taiwan during winter time, because if it gets cold then it might freeze when we get back, and you know, you have to like renovate and like just exchange the pipes and everything, and it would literally cost like hundreds of thousands of NT to fix. So that's super annoying. And another thing super specific to me, but that actually happened to me when I was in Alaska 14 years ago, so technically not Sweden, but you know, it could also happen here, and that is that if you're using a camera lens, if you bring that somewhere that is cold and into a warm room, the cold will create condensation on the lens, and then this condensation is, I guess, vaporized water. And if you take that back out into the cold again, then that water will freeze and then destroying the camera lens, which is the reason for why I did not have a YouTube career 14 years ago already, because I destroyed the camera I had with me to Alaska at that time. So it's all kinds of issues that makes me very happy living in Taiwan, where we don't have this sub-zero temperature issues. And the last thing, I was already complaining about that icy roads are causing issues on the car roads. These issues are of course also happening to our train tracks as well, with snow coming over the trees, and then the tree branches getting so heavy by all the extra snow, so they will snap, maybe land on the train racks, which of course will go through the entire forest here in Sweden, and then that will cause all kinds of train delays, and maybe if we're really unlucky, some train derailing as well if they have not caught the trees that are on the roads. So, you know, it just causes all types of issues here in Sweden, but hopefully I will still be able to go to the airport, which is like, you know, literally across the country. A few weeks from now, I'm still gonna be here in Sweden for a few more weeks, but hopefully I will be able to get to the airport on time, so I will also be able to get back home to Taiwan in time. And if that is something that you want to see, please do remember to subscribe to this channel, and I will keep you updated as soon as I step foot back home in Taiwan again. And if you're not already following me on social media, you have my Facebook and Instagram account there as well. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Lukas. It starts with L as in like, ends with S as in subscribe. Please do both, and see you all in the next one.